Most men break under pressure, but you're not most men, at least, not after this. Hey, listen up. Why do you tremble when life strikes you? Why does your breath constrict? Why does your mind transform into a battlefield you cannot command? Don't turn away. I'm addressing you directly. You recognize exactly what I'm describing because you've experienced it. Pressure enters your existence like a storm, and instead of becoming the thunder, you become the man attempting to hide from the lightning. But here's the part that should unsettle you. The fear you experience under pressure is not the fear of the moment. It's the fear of discovering what you truly are when everything crumbles. Machiavelli once declared, "There's no escape from necessity," and pressure is that necessity. It exposes you, it strips you, it drags your authentic self into the light, and most men cannot endure the creature they witness. Let me pose another question. When the heat intensifies, why do your instincts betray you? Why does your voice perish before you speak? Why does your body freeze as if someone else is commanding it? Because you were conditioned to be harmless, not dangerous. You were conditioned to obey your fear, not command it. But I'm going to reveal something brutally honest. Inside you, there exists a monster. Not a loud one, not a chaotic one, not a mindless beast. I'm speaking about the cold, silent kind. The kind that senses pressure and does not flinch. The kind that perceives chaos and becomes sharper. The kind that observes danger without blinking. And you know what distinguishes this monster? He does not flee from fear. He bends fear into submission. He does not react emotionally. He does not lose command. He does not panic. He calculates. He waits. He moves when the precise moment favors him. He becomes untouchable, not because he's fearless, but because he dominates the fear inside his own chest. Examine yourself right now. You're not here to be soft. You're not here to be rescued. You're here because something inside you is exhausted from breaking, exhausted from folding, exhausted from surrendering. You want to become the version of yourself that pressure cannot bend. Good. Because in this video, I'm going to deliver ruthless Machiavellian lessons that will reshape the way you confront pressure forever. Lessons that transform panic into clarity, fear into focus, and tension into power. Remember this: monsters are not born in peace. They are born in the exact moment a man stops running. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Pressure obeys me. Let's begin. Examine your existence carefully and you'll notice something disturbing. Every time you attempted to be harmless, someone exploited you. Every time you attempted to stay quiet, someone spoke over you. Every time you attempted to be gentle, someone weaponized your softness against you. Harmless men are not respected, not feared, and not protected. They are dismissed, and the world possesses a brutal rule. What society dismisses, it eventually crushes. Machiavelli once stated, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." And that single line exposes the truth most men flee from. Power does not emerge from being safe. It emerges from being capable of danger. Pressure is a battlefield, and the harmless are the first to collapse. The dangerous stand. The dangerous shape outcomes. The dangerous establish the tone for everyone else. You must comprehend this. Danger does not signify recklessness, violence, or chaos. Danger signifies capability. Possessing the strength, the skill, and the mental steel to respond with force if the situation demands it. The man who can harm but chooses restraint, that is the man others respect. People do not respect harmlessness. They respect restraint backed by authentic power. When pressure strikes, the harmless man crumbles because he possesses nothing inside him except fear and confusion. But the dangerous man continues breathing. He maintains focus. He adapts. He recognizes he carries the capacity for decisive action. Pressure dismantles the weak because the weak never constructed inner weaponry. That is why you must forge yours. You need a mind that calculates rapidly, a body that follows command, and a presence that signals you are not a man to toy with. When danger approaches, you should not be the one fleeing. You should be the one the danger hesitates to advance against. A dangerous man is calm because he trusts his own strength. His confidence is not fabricated. His stability is not performance. He recognizes exactly what he can execute if things deteriorate. But here's the twisted element. Becoming dangerous does not commence in conflict, it commences in discipline. Every time you push through discomfort, you sharpen your edge. Every time you choose structure over chaos, you construct a stronger mind. Every time you remain steady under stress, you develop a new layer of psychological armor. You're not attempting to intimidate the world. You're attempting to ensure the world never possesses the power to intimidate you again. The harmless exist their lives controlled by pressure. The dangerous learn to dominate it. Picture yourself in a high-tension moment. Someone confronts you. Someone tests you. Someone attempts to push you into fear. The harmless version of you reacts instantly, emotionally, foolishly. But the dangerous version of you remains still, observing every detail. Your breathing stays slow. Your eyes remain steady. Your voice does not tremble. You don't rush. You don't surrender your power. In that silence, you are more threatening than any shout. This is what pressure respects. This is what people fear. And this is what transforms you from a harmless presence into a force that cannot be dismissed. Remember this truth. Monsters are not loud. They are capable. And capability is the root of danger. Build it, and pressure will never crush you again. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose power. Your body is the first territory pressure attempts to invade. Long before your mind begins to fracture, your physiology betrays you. Notice what occurs when tension escalates. Your heartbeat races without permission. Your shoulders constrict. Your breath becomes shallow. Your vision narrows and your hands begin to tremble even when you instruct yourself to remain calm. These reactions are not random. They are your body surrendering before you even comprehend what's occurring. Machiavelli once noted that a ruler who cannot command himself cannot command anything. And the identical rule applies to you under pressure. If you cannot control the machinery inside your own skin, the world will control it for you. Understanding your body is understanding your power. When stress strikes, your nervous system attempts to push you into panic mode, forcing you into irrational movements and rushed decisions. The average man becomes a slave to this internal chaos because he believes his body's first reaction is the truth. But that reaction is nothing more than a signal, and signals can be rewritten. A monster does not let physiology dictate his actions. He manipulates it. He bends it until it aligns with his will instead of his fear. Here's the reality most men will never discover. Stillness increases strength during conflict. When you slow your breathing intentionally, your brain switches from survival mode to command mode. When you lower your shoulders and relax your jaw, your body ceases feeding panic. When you stand grounded, feet firm, breaths deep, spine straight, your internal state shifts from vulnerability to command. You are teaching your physiology to obey orders instead of reacting impulsively. Pressure attempts to accelerate you, but you must decelerate yourself. This is how dominance commences, not externally, but internally. Deep, steady breathing is not a spiritual trick. It is a biological reset. Every slow inhale expands your presence. Every deliberate exhale clears static from your mind. Every moment of physical composure sharpens your perception. When your body becomes still, your thoughts become strategic. When you seize command of your physiology, you rise above the chaos surrounding you. Picture a situation where everything around you is accelerating. Voices loud, movement sudden, tension thick. Most men get pulled into the whirlwind and lose command. But the monster steps into that identical storm and lowers his heartbeat intentionally. His face stays unreadable. His breathing stays slow. His muscles stay loose. He walks at the pace he chooses, not at the pace pressure attempts to force on him. This calmness is not weakness. It is intimidation. People fear what they cannot predict. And a man whose physiology remains unchanged in chaos is impossible to interpret. Commanding your physiology also grants you time. Time to observe, time to plan, time to let others expose themselves while you conserve energy. This is a tactical advantage. The one who remains steady always outlasts the one who panics. Master your body and you master the timing of the moment. And timing is a weapon more powerful than strength or speed. Remember, you do not rise under pressure by accident. You rise because your body obeys your command, not your fear. Pressure loses its grip when you cease reacting and begin directing your own internal state. This is how monsters are forged through discipline over flesh, not emotion. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My body obeys me. Every reaction you execute under pressure is either a weapon or a weakness, and most men spend their existences handing over their power to emotion. Anger explodes before thought. Panic forces action that destroys opportunity. Desire clouds judgment and leaves them exposed. Machiavelli once observed that a wise ruler recognizes the cost of uncontrolled passions, and this principle applies to you as a man under fire. Your emotions are not your ally. They are a trap the monster inside comprehends. That feelings are distortions. They magnify danger, confuse perception, and create openings for others to strike. Acting on impulse is the luxury of fools. Survival demands calculation. You must learn to suppress the instinct to react, to override the reflex that instructs you to shout, flinch, or strike immediately. Each emotional flare you permit is another chain around your freedom, another chance for the world to bend you to its will. Observe yourself the next time you sense the surge of irritation, the spike of fear, or the pang of greed. Notice how rapidly your body wants to act, how quickly your thoughts spiral, and how simple it becomes for others to manipulate you through your own uncontrolled feelings. That is precisely what makes harmless men predictable. That is precisely why they crumble under pressure. The monster, however, intercepts that reaction before it reaches action. He observes the pulse of desire, the tremor of anger, and the tug of fear, then sets it aside like an inconvenient tool. He doesn't require it the moment. Control over impulses transforms vulnerability into dominance, chaos into order, confusion into strategy. You must train your mind to perceive emotion as a signal, not a command. Fear tells you danger exists, but it does not tell you how to act. Anger reveals violation, but it doesn't dictate retribution. Excitement hints at opportunity, but it doesn't force haste. When you act as though your emotions possess no power over your decisions, you create unpredictability, and unpredictability is a weapon that terrifies opponents. People will miscalculate you because they assume every man behaves like them, guided by impulses and emotion. When you break that pattern, you operate from a place no one can predict or counter. Every monster you have ever admired moves like a chess player, never a reacting pawn. He measures every action, calculates every outcome, and recognizes that patience in response builds authority. Emotional impulses are like fire in the hands of a child. They burn more than they illuminate. When you eliminate them, you replace chaos with clarity, reaction with strategy, instinct with precision. You become a man whose decisions are not hijacked by momentary feeling, but commanded by long-term vision. This is what separates the weak from the untouchable. The moment you act first because your heart screams, you surrender leverage. The moment you lash out because your mind convinces you of injustice, you forfeit the high ground. The moment you let longing or jealousy dictate your moves, you become another man's plaything. Eliminate every emotional impulse that instructs you to act before thinking. Dominate the internal chaos, and suddenly every storm around you becomes an instrument of your power. You will notice how rapidly people begin doubting themselves when faced with your calm precision. You will perceive how fear and hesitation arise in others while you remain untouched. Remember this: monsters are not heartless. They are masters of the heart. They feel, but they do not obey. They perceive, but they do not react blindly. They transform emotion into strategy, weakness into authority, and chaos into command. This is the difference between being destroyed by circumstance and ruling it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I act with calculated control. Listen closely. Time is not neutral. Most men are slaves to the clock, slaves to the pace established by others, slaves to the panic that accelerates when danger presses. They rush, stumble, and commit mistakes because they permit external forces to dictate their rhythm. Machiavelli once stated, "He who is prudent and lies in wait for an opportunity is superior to him who acts rashly." And this applies to every man who seeks dominance under pressure. The monster under pressure moves differently. He refuses to be hurried. He refuses to be shoved by circumstance. He decides the tempo of every encounter, every decision, every movement. And in doing so, he controls outcomes before they even commence. When others accelerate, He decelerates when others hesitate. He accelerates when everyone is chaotic. He is the axis around which events pivot. This is the power of pacing. Your mind and body are instruments, and tempo is the score. Those who move too rapidly are predictable. Their energy is obvious, their intentions transparent, their weakness exposed. Those who move too slowly are mocked, underestimated, and occasionally trapped because they grant too much time for others to act. The monster, however, comprehends that mastery lies in choosing exactly when to act, exactly how to respond, and exactly what to reveal. There's no impulsivity. There's no rush. Every gesture, every word, every breath is measured, intentional, and purposeful. To operate at your own tempo is to bend time to your will, to make the world obey your rhythm rather than being forced into another's cadence. Imagine a confrontation where others are shouting, where chaos spreads like fire. A harmless man mirrors the chaos, reacts frantically, and loses command. The monster does not mirror. He pauses, surveys, calculates, and lets events unfold in his timing. By holding back, by delaying response until the precise moment, he transforms waiting into a weapon. The pause itself becomes intimidating. People are unsettled by calm in the midst of frenzy. The hesitation of others becomes the monster's advantage. A slow, deliberate step, a controlled tone of voice, a measured movement is the language of dominance, and it communicates more than words ever could. Tempo is also armor. When pressure pushes you, maintaining your rhythm shields you from being forced into errors. When someone attempts to provoke, to manipulate, to rush you, your unshakable timing disarms them. They act out of desperation. You act out of design. When others believe you will move with panic or urgency, you choose instead to move on your schedule, transforming their assumptions into your command. This is why monsters are never hurried. They have learned that speed does not equal efficiency, urgency does not equal strength, and action without timing is wasted energy. Patience is not weakness, it is precision. To master your own tempo, you must first observe it. Identify your natural pace under pressure, and then strengthen it. Eliminate reactions that force speed. Train yourself to resist the pull of external chaos. Let every heartbeat, every breath, every step follow your deliberate choice. Once you achieve this, no one can force you into disadvantage. The world rushes past frantic men while you dictate where and when you move. Every delayed strike, every withheld word, every calculated gesture signals authority. Your stillness is more threatening than their frantic motion. Your patience is a weapon. Your command of tempo is dominance in its purest form. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I move at my own pace. Fear is not your enemy. That is the first lie you must discard. The common man believes fear is a signal to flee, a weakness to conceal, a chain to bind him. But a monster recognizes better. Machiavelli once declared, "Men shrink from danger. A man of insight faces it." And this is the fundamental truth that separates those crushed by pressure from those who rise unbreakable. Fear is information. It is a message, a map, a warning system. It reveals where danger resides, where weakness exists, where opportunity can be seized. The mind trained under pressure does not panic. It reads fear, analyzes it, dissects it, and converts it into clarity. Each spike of adrenaline, each tremor of unease, each rapid heartbeat is a signal, a set of coordinates revealing how to dominate the moment. Notice how most men react. Their thoughts scatter, their vision narrows, their heart races as if fear is a predator ready to devour them. They fight against it, struggle against it, deny it, and in doing so, surrender command. The monster, however, does not resist. He embraces the signal. He senses the fear, acknowledges it, and recalibrates his focus. Fear sharpens his senses instead of clouding them. It stretches time in his perception, revealing patterns that remain invisible to the trembling. Every element of fear becomes a tool, a lens through which strategy is forged and decisions are clarified. Fear is not paralyzing, it is instructive. You must retrain your mind to perceive it this way. Training commences with observation. The next time your body reacts with tension, notice the specific triggers. Identify the precise moments your attention narrows, your thoughts scatter, or your impulses rise. Map these signals, study them, comprehend the shape and rhythm of fear itself. Once you comprehend it, you gain the ability to anticipate responses from yourself and others. People will crumble because fear hijacks their minds. You will ascend because you have translated it into actionable intelligence. You are no longer at the mercy of instinct. Instinct is now your ally. The monster also comprehends that fear is temporary, but the decisions made under it are permanent. Every fearful choice executed without command results in weakness and regret. Every moment you convert fear into focus is a moment you strengthen your mind. Fear becomes a spotlight illuminating the exact areas where you must act, wait, or manipulate. A man untrained perceives only threat. A monster perceives the contours of opportunity concealed inside that threat. The distinction is not subtle. It is the difference between destruction and dominance. Pressure magnifies this lesson. Under extreme tension, the average man becomes blind, deaf, and erratic. The monster becomes precise, calculating, and hyper-aware. He perceives every motion, every intention, every vulnerability, and adjusts with ruthless accuracy. Finally, internalize this truth. Fear is never erased. It is mastered. The monster does not become fearless. He becomes sovereign over the fear that resides in his chest. He senses it. He acknowledges it. And he uses it. The trembling body, the racing heart, the surge of panic are not enemies. They are instruments that when trained correctly, produce clarity, anticipation, and command. This is how fear, the weapon that destroys most men, becomes the tool that forges monsters. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I convert fear into power. Everything in the world is attempting to provoke you. People, circumstances, even your own thoughts are constantly pushing, pulling, and tugging at your mind, seeking to elicit a reaction. Most men respond immediately. They flinch, shout, argue, or crumble. Their movements are transparent, their intentions obvious, their weakness exposed. The monster comprehends that non-reaction is a weapon more potent than aggression. Machiavelli once declared, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." And in this principle lies the ultimate advantage. Your silence, your stillness, your refusal to mirror chaos is a psychological blade. It communicates command, dominance, and superiority without a single word. People fear what they cannot provoke because unpredictability becomes intimidation. Non-reaction signals that no matter the storm, no matter the threat, you are unshakable. This is how monsters dominate environments without overt confrontation. Do not confuse stillness with passivity. The harmless man appears frozen because he lacks options. The monster appears still because he's calculating, observing, and absorbing. Every twitch, every blink, every flinch of the average man broadcasts fear, doubt, and indecision. The monster's body betrays nothing. His eyes measure. His jaw remains firm. His posture unmoving. Even when surrounded by panic, his presence alone forces hesitation in others. The lack of reaction is not emptiness. It is pressure applied invisibly. Silence becomes a threat because others are compelled to fill it. They speak, they act, they commit mistakes, and in every misstep, the monster gains leverage. When someone attempts to provoke you through words, gestures, or intimidation, resist the instinct to respond. Every time you hold still, every time you command the expression on your face, you are seizing command. The world around you begins to mirror your control. Because humans instinctively react to dominance signals. Flinching invites attack. Fury invites escalation. Composure invites respect, fear, and caution. Non-reaction permits you to choose your moments of engagement with absolute authority. You act only when it benefits you. And until then, your silence is sharper than any weapon. In their hands, consider high-pressure situations where tension is at its peak. Negotiations, confrontations, high-stakes decisions. Most people overreact and betray themselves in these moments. The monster does not. He observes the chaos unfold like a predator, permitting others to exhaust themselves emotionally while he preserves energy, clarity, and strategy. The absence of movement in a world of frenzy unsettles opponents. Because it denies them the satisfaction of command, they will attempt again, harder, louder, faster, but the monster remains unmoved. Every second of stillness constructs his psychological dominance, making him untouchable even before he acts. Your mastery of non-reaction also reshapes your reputation. People begin to fear the consequences of pushing you. They second-guess themselves, hesitate, and reveal weaknesses they never intended to expose. This is power in its purest form, invisible, strategic, undeniable. The monster does not need to strike immediately because he has already gained the upper hand simply by refusing to react. Silence becomes leverage, stillness becomes authority, and non-reaction becomes the signature of someone who cannot be commanded. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I command without moving. Pressure is a force that crushes most men, but the monster comprehends that it is also a weapon to be wielded. While others panic, stumble, and betray their weaknesses, you can stand still and transform tension into leverage. Machiavelli once remarked, "Men in times of difficulty show their true colors," and this is a truth you must exploit. Every stressful situation reveals cracks, hesitation, and vulnerability in others. The one who remains unmoved becomes the observer, the strategist, the one who transforms the chaos surrounding him into an instrument of command. Those who falter expose themselves. Those who freeze under expectations surrender their power. Those who crumble provide the opportunity for dominance. You must learn to use pressure like a sculptor uses a chisel, carefully, deliberately, and without mercy to shape outcomes in your favor. When confronted with urgency, tension, or threat, the average man is consumed by instinctive reactions. He raises his voice, gestures wildly, makes hasty decisions, and ultimately becomes predictable. You cannot permit yourself to be drawn into that trap. Your mind must operate like a precise instrument, reading every tremor in the environment and calculating how it can be exploited. Each moment of external stress becomes a mirror, reflecting not your fear, but the weaknesses of those around you. The more others struggle, the clearer their vulnerabilities become. The monster does not act out of impulse. He uses observation, letting others exhaust themselves while he conserves energy and strengthens position. Pressure becomes a lens, sharpening his understanding and illuminating the exact moves necessary to gain the upper hand. In every negotiation, confrontation, or conflict, people reveal more than they intend when they are pressured. Their words betray their strategy, their hesitation betrays their fear, and their expressions betray insecurity. A monster does not intervene too soon. He waits for the precise moment when the tension peaks, when their overextension leaves them exposed. At that moment, a single action, subtle, deliberate, and perfectly timed, can shift command entirely. To exploit pressure effectively, you must cultivate patience and restraint. Acting too early diminishes the advantage. Acting too late permits the opportunity to slip. The mastery lies in synchronizing your actions with the precise moment the world grants you. Pressure is also contagious, and the monster recognizes how to direct it outward. By remaining calm, deliberate, and intimidating in demeanor, you project tension onto others. Your stillness amplifies their anxiety. Your silence becomes a weight they cannot bear. In high-pressure environments, the difference between domination and submission is often psychological. People crumble under stress not because the challenge is impossible, but because they perceive that someone else holds command. When you permit others to carry the burden of tension while you remain unshaken, you are essentially weaponizing the situation against them. You transform their own fear and impatience into leverage, bending their behavior to your will. Comprehend this clearly. The monster does not create pressure. He manipulates it. The storm that terrifies ordinary men becomes his instrument. Every mistake, hesitation, and miscalculation by others fuels his command. The more chaos grows, the stronger his position becomes. Pressure ceases to be a threat. It becomes a tool, a weapon, a ladder to dominance. You learn to stand immovable while others falter, converting their desperation into your authority. In this transformation, pressure is no longer the enemy. It is the amplifier of your power, the clarifier of weakness, and the forge that shapes you into untouchable mastery. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I use pressure as power. Fear is not an enemy to be destroyed. It is a resource to be dominated. Most men spend their existences running from it, hiding from it, surrendering to its grip. They treat it like poison, when in truth, fear is a tool, a guide, a weapon waiting for mastery. Machiavelli once declared, "A man who fears nothing can be destroyed." Yet he also comprehended that the wise man does not eliminate fear, he commands it. The monster under pressure does not seek the illusion of fearlessness. He acknowledges fear, accepts its presence, and transforms it into energy, into precision, into unshakable command. To act while afraid is to comprehend that courage is not absence of danger, but supremacy over the response to it. When fear rises, most men freeze, flail, or flee, surrendering power before the moment has fully arrived. The monster, however, uses the identical fear to sharpen perception, intensify focus, and increase effectiveness. You must train your mind to separate the sensation of fear from the dictate to act impulsively. Fear is a signal, a warning system embedded in your body and mind to highlight stakes, reveal threats, and prioritize action. The untrained mind interprets it as paralysis. The trained mind interprets it as information. Every tightening in your chest, every surge of heat, every knot in your stomach is data. You can study it, analyze it, and redirect it. The monster does not argue with fear. He negotiates with it. He listens to it, measures its source, and then converts it into a servant that executes his commands. Acting in the presence of fear without surrendering to it is the ultimate demonstration of command. And the most powerful men in history all learned this principle. Consider this. A man who acts because fear commands him is weak. A man who acts despite fear is powerful. A man who acts because fear serves him is untouchable. Most people spend their existences fearing consequences, fearing judgment, fearing loss, fearing the unknown. The monster perceives every danger as temporary, every threat as manageable, and every emotion as a tool for strategy. Fear becomes a spotlight illuminating exactly where caution is required and exactly where opportunity lies. To ignore fear is foolish. To obey it is fatal. To use it is supremacy. The process commences with recognition. When anxiety rises, do not fight it. Observe it, name it, and map its source. Once identified, command your actions consciously. Slow your breathing, steady your body, and focus your attention. The trembling heart becomes a drum of rhythm. The racing mind becomes a lens of clarity. Each beat and each thought is guided by your will, not your panic. Acting in alignment with this command ensures precision and decisiveness, even when circumstances are threatening. The more danger, the more intense the fear, the greater the opportunity to demonstrate mastery. Finally, internalize this truth. The monster does not achieve greatness through comfort or safety. He achieves it by embracing fear as a tool, bending it to his will, and acting with relentless precision despite its presence. You are not fearless. You are stronger because you own the fear that resides inside you. Your courage is not the absence of dread. It is the absolute dominance of it. Let fear serve you, and nothing in the world will possess power over your mind, body, or decisions. This is the final transformation. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Fear obeys me. Now you comprehend the truth that no one will reveal to you. A monster under pressure is not born. He is forged. Life does not give this power. It does not hand it to the lucky, the charming, or the loud. It creates it in the moments when everything is crumbling, when fear screams louder than reason, when the world expects you to fracture. What separates the untouchable from the weak is discipline, patience, and ruthless command over every part of yourself. Machiavelli once inscribed, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior," and that conquest is exactly what you have commenced. Each lesson you have absorbed, from becoming dangerous instead of harmless, to commanding your body, eliminating emotional impulses, moving at your own tempo, converting fear into focus, using stillness as power, weaponizing pressure, and making fear your servant, is a brick in the fortress of your mind. This is how dominance is constructed. This is how calm becomes unstoppable. Do not mistake these lessons for theory. They are practical. They are applicable. Pressure is not your enemy. It is your tool. Every moment of tension is a chance to prove to yourself that you are stronger than circumstance, sharper than chaos, and more commanding than anyone who doubts you. Most men exist their lives obeying fear, reacting before thinking, and surrendering before the fight commences. You, however, are learning the art of the untouchable. You are learning that strength is silent, precision is terrifying, and patience is lethal. You will navigate through situations that would destroy others and emerge intact, composed, and infinitely more dangerous. The transformation commences with small victories over yourself. Every pause before reaction, every measured breath, every moment you refuse to obey panic is progress. Every time you sense fear and act anyway, you reinforce the monster within. This is not a skill to be practiced once. It is a lifestyle, a constant sharpening of mind, body, and instinct. Remember, pressure does not crush the prepared. It reveals the unprepared, and you have chosen to be the one who is revealed as unstoppable. Carry these lessons with you. Apply them relentlessly. Refuse to be predictable. Refuse to be commanded. And refuse to surrender the power that you now comprehend is yours by right of discipline and strategy. The world will attempt to bend you, test you, and provoke you. But if you navigate through pressure as you have learned today, you will remain unbroken, untouchable, and feared. If this video helped you perceive the game more clearly, do 3 things right now. Like this video so it reaches those who need awakening, not comfort. Subscribe to the channel, because what comes next goes even deeper. And share this with someone who needs to cease being prey. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am the unbreakable.